Hello, I'm David Clark, Chairman of the European Movement in Scotland. Happy Europe Day to you all. I'm here at St Andrew's House in Edinburgh to meet with Minister for Europe, Kaukab Stewart. Minister, happy Europe Day.
Thank you very much.
Tell me, why is Europe so important to Scotland?
Scotland is an outward-looking nation. We have been good neighbours and part of Europe previously, and then Brexit happened. Scotland did not vote for Brexit, and we continue to be quite devastated by not only the breaks in ties of our cultural links, but also our educational, our trade, exchange, all of that.
We're interested in the current state of UK-EU relations. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
So we're doing what we can to put as much pressure as we can on the UK government to make sure that areas such as the trade and cooperation agreements, also regarding movement of, particularly for my sector, people from the cultural sector, artists, musicians can travel, but also with regards to access to education. Previously we had the Erasmus scheme. I know that that's been greatly missed. Obviously, we were very disappointed that the UK government initially has rejected the offer from the EU regarding sort of facilities being opened again for 18 to 30-year-olds. So we would ask them to reconsider that.
What are your aspirations for the relationship that we have with the EU?
Well, my aspiration is that we want to be an equal part of Europe. We think that we have a lot to offer Europe, but equally Europe has a lot to offer us. And you can see that with, despite the challenges, we do have many artists that come over from Europe, and they play a very valuable role in not only bringing their cultural talents and views to Scotland, but also they're learning about Scotland. And again, despite the challenges, we're doing everything we can to encourage our Scottish artists to take a little bit of Scotland to Europe as well. I'm disappointed about the hostile narrative that the UK government has shown, especially in regards to immigration and visa and that free movement of people. And the Scottish government's got a really strong record on challenging them on this. Our MPs are doing a great job on calling it out in the Houses of Commons constantly. So we will continue to put pressure on the UK government to actually be very realistic and point out the billions of pounds worth of lost revenue. Just in a year, was it £69 million have been lost from the economy because of Brexit. 8 years later, 68% of people feel that actually it was a mistake to leave the European Union. So the evidence is very clear, and the Scottish Government will continue to make that case.
It'd be important to know, what are the key areas where Scotland can collaborate with the EU?
So under the present situation, we are already collaborating on a number of issues. The cultural exchange is especially one, but also on trade and industry. We want to make sure that where people want to come and invest in Scotland, that we're doing everything we can to do that. One example I can give you is regarding the university offering that we have. So collaboration between universities, so you've got that innovation, but you've also got sort of like private industries and companies, but then also the Scottish Government supporting those endeavours. So we've got business, innovation and tech centres that we're trying to create, and in fact we are. We have one in Glasgow Kelvin in my own constituency in particular that's a joint collaboration with the University of Glasgow. So all of these things, we are pursuing that. We're also making sure that the presence that we have in Europe of our Scotland houses, that we're maximising the value that we get by having, again, a little bit of Scotland represented there. So we have people on the ground that are continuing, maintaining and pursuing good relations to make sure that everybody in Europe knows that Scotland is open and it's open right now. And actually, we were never closed. So as the door gets wider in the future, we want to be in that very healthy position where people are already investing, or they've got an eye of what offering we have and they want to be part of it.
If you were going to say one thing to Europe, what would that be?
Europe can also be putting pressure on the UK government as well to make sure that things like trade agreements, movements, bureaucracy, making sure standards are followed, all of that, and yeah, putting pressure on the UK government as well. The pressure needs to come from all views. I speak to many ambassadors, and I've had the pleasure of sort of like meeting many folk from Europe, especially because of Europe Day, but the many events that are happening as well to celebrate Europe. And there is such a positive goodwill, but I recognise that goodwill is not enough.
Thank you very much, Minister Stewart. Happy Europe Day.
Merci.
I hope you found the interview informative, and it will help us understand what the Scottish Government is doing to help us work and get closer to our European neighbours. If you want to help us out on this project, go to our website and join us and come along and see what you can do to bring Europe and Scotland closer together.